I would like to call the Monday, May 22nd meeting of the Blue Springs Planning Commission to order. If everyone would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome everyone this evening, as well as those watching from home. I will run through tonight's agenda. First item on the agenda will be the consent agenda. Second item is a preliminary plat for Roanoke 22 of Summerfield. Third item is a preliminary plat for, I'm going to butcher that, how do you pronounce that? Tequesta Village. Fourth item is a preliminary plat for Hannah's Place. Fifth item was a master sign plan, alternative sign plan review for White Oak Marketplace. That has been continued to our June 12th meeting. And then item 6 will be election of officers. Item 7 is other business, and then adjournment. So with that, I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Second item is the preliminary plat for Roanoke 22 of Summerfield, and Mr. Wright is going to make that presentation for us this evening.
All right, thank you, Chairman Graham and Commissioners. Before you this evening is a request for a preliminary plat for Roanoke 22 of Summerfield East PRO. The subject property is located north of the existing Summerfield and Summerfield East subdivisions and contains approximately 21.69 acres, and it's zoned SF7 PRO, Single Family Planned Residential Overlay. An amended PRO concept plan was approved by the City Council on March 6th of this year. Preliminary plat does match the concept plan, with including the 52 single-family lots that proposed. A few tracts that were on the concept plan were combined to total 9 tracts that are now being proposed, but the same amount of open space has been maintained. The main point of access for the site will be through an extension of Northeast Roanoke Drive from Porter Road. That extension must be added before the first plat can be approved up to Northeast Overland Drive, which is coming out of Summerfield East right there. Roanoke must also be extended to Northeast Bootstrap Drive prior to approval of the second phase, which is this phase up here in the northeast corner. The remaining portion must be financially guaranteed and installed with the future extension to the east, which is at the city limit line right now. 5-foot sidewalks will be provided on both sides of Roanoke Drive, and 4-foot sidewalks on one side of each local street. A 10-foot trail will also be extended from the existing trail in Summerfield East up to Roanoke Drive. That'll be either installed or financially guaranteed prior to approval of the first plat. Landscaping, open space, details, and amenities will be reviewed with the PRO final plan at a later date. And a minimum livable floor area classification of 1,600 square feet is proposed and must be noted on each final plat. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat with the 15 conditions in the staff report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, any questions for Mr. Wright? All right, doesn't look like it. Thank you, sir. Is the applicant present and would like to make a presentation?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if the applicant is not in the audience or as a representative, I move that we continue this until the next planning commission.
I have it. Would that be, I need to vote on that, correct? To continue? Okay, I have a motion to continue. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Cradoff. All those in favor of continuing to our, would that be June 12th meeting? Please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
So that is continued to the June 12th meeting. All right. Item 3, preliminary plat for Tequesta Village, and Mr. Hawley is going to present that for us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Much better. Before you tonight is another preliminary plat, and this particular preliminary plat is called Tequesta Village. It is located on 300 block of Southeast AA Highway, consisting of approximately 15.49 acres, and the site is located on the south side of Southeast AA Highway, 750 feet west approximately of Southeast Sunnyside School Road. The applicant is proposing to plat 3 lots to house a series of multifamily residential buildings. The total land area is approximately 12.7 acres, with Lot 1 consisting of 2.98 acres, Lot 2 about 3.35 acres, Lot 3 is about 4.04 acres, and then the remaining land is in the 2 tracts and the roadway as described in the staff report. Most of you probably remember back in April, the Planning Commission recommended approval of a rezoning of this property from SF7 and MF14 to MF10, and the City Council approved that on when did they approve that? May 1st. It was approved by the City Council. The preliminary plat is consistent with the allowable lot sizes and configuration and the uses for the MF10 zoning district. It meets the setback requirements, separation requirements. The rear setback was increased slightly because of the orientation of the buildings to 30 feet, and that is consistent with our updated UDC. Access and parking. Access will be taken from Highway AA as well as Gingerbread Lane. And then, as you can see on the overhead, there's an internal roadway system that allows direct access to the units themselves. There is a requirement that they provide a 5-foot sidewalk along AA Highway. They'll also have to provide a 4-foot sidewalk on at least one side of the internal street and through to Gingerbread Lane. They will be required to provide a traffic study prior to the final plat. The landscape buffers will be required to be shown on the final plat. They will be required to provide a stormwater detention plan as well as quality plan. Public utilities are available, and staff does recommend approval with the 17 conditions listed in the staff report. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Hawley?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Phillips?
Mr. Hawley, were there any alternative layouts looked at for this street pattern and lot division to maybe provide more open space on the exterior of the site as opposed to the dead center in the middle of the site?
No, there wasn't. To answer your question directly, this is the layout that they've come forward with. In staff's opinion, along AA Highway in particular, with Tract B being an open space tract, and then Tract A being the existing pond, as well as surrounding land, which is open space, and the 50-foot buffer that they're leaving along Highway AA, we thought that was adequate. As far
I was more concerned about the residential backing up to especially the larger estate, or not estate, but the larger lots there on the east side of the lot. It would be nice if maybe there was a little more, some of that open space was over there instead of right in the middle.
And as you'll recall, we have heard from one of the neighbors on that eastern
Yes,
side.
I do recall that. That's part of this
Right.
conversation.
And we really haven't had any discussions about changing that. I'm not sure that this is the time at the preliminary plat, although what I will say is the preliminary plat, does...
It does
show that
cement
roadway.
these streets in place,
And
and
it's pretty hard to rearrange things when you have streets in place.
that's right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Mr. Allen?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Phillips. And as Mr. Holly was saying, one additional thing I would include with that is, as you can see, there's existing tree line to the south, and also to the northeast, and also somewhat to the west. And so staff has been strongly encouraging the applicant to maintain that tree line as they move forward here. Along with that, we have had some additional discussions about how to improve any kind of buffer, fencing, natural buffer in terms of trees and shrubs and such along, as you had mentioned, Commissioner Phillips, the kind of that gap you can see to the southeast along those larger estate lots, where there is some, say, kind of break in that buffer line. So there is still that maintained, I believe, is it 30-foot setback?
Yeah, it's a 30-foot, it is a 30-foot setback.
Between the buildings and the property line there too. So there is that additional opportunity for some future landscaping and buffering as we move forward with additional approvals.
I would just like to see more width as opposed to just landscaping in that area.
And because of the orientation of the building, I will tell you that that buffer is 50% wider than it is required, but that 50% is what kicked it up to 30 feet. Just so you know.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, Commissioner Wallace?
Yes, my question, when I look at this drawing, just a clarification, the little your dashed triangles there, those are your buildings, your rectangles? That's your building outlines going around like lots of...
That's a general layout of the building, but that doesn't lock those buildings in like that. I just want everyone to understand what you're approving tonight on the preliminary plat is the 3 lots and the 2 tracks.
And the street.
And the street, that's absolutely correct.
And the street
Commissioner
determines a
Phillips.
lot of where those buildings are going to have to be.
And that is correct. That is correct.
In the
Hey,
MF,
Commissioner Wallace, is your microphone on?
probably not.
Thank you.
In the MF10, is that what it is zoned?
It is zoned MF10.
What size buildings are those? Is that...
The majority of the buildings are fourplexes, and I don't know that we've seen the overall size of those buildings yet. There are some duplexes, that are mixed in with that. The applicant can probably give you a better idea of the size and the mix of unit types.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Hawley? All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Barnhart, are you making your presentation this evening? If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Jay Barnhart, 1338 Northwest Jefferson Court, Blue Springs, Missouri.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to address them. But right now, my understanding is we comply with everything, and actually our setbacks and our green space is over and above what is even required at this time.
Okay.
I met with the engineer again this afternoon and addressed the landscaping issue, and I mean, like I said, we're wanting to have a nice buffer zone. We're not planning on taking out any trees at this time unless we just have to. Our setbacks are greater than what it would be if it was another type of zoning or a PUD. I mean, we're really limited to what we can do, but that's how we want the project to work. We want it to be an upper scale project with a nice clubhouse and pool and all that.
Okay. Commissioner Phillips.
I would just repeat my question. What was the thought process for putting all of the green space in the center of the lot as opposed to along the edges?
The piece of ground, the topography of the ground, the ground's really, it's got a lot of fall to it. It's a rough piece of ground, to be honest with you. Our buildings are actually going to be stair-stepped. just to follow, everything drains, as you guys can realize, everything drains into that pond, and there's a lot of slope to the project. We've got a lot of cut in it. There's at places there's 10 to 12 foot of cut, and it just made sense to do it this way. My engineer couldn't make it tonight, but I did meet with him again this afternoon, and our final layout is basically that. It just made sense, and you know, like I said, to meet all the green space requirements that the city wanted us, this made sense. And like I said, we comply with everything and then some.
Well, and I'm not questioning that at all. I'm just, in my mind, I'm just, I guess, wishing that, and it looks like the roadway is on the high point of the lot all the way around, or at least on that east side, because I know it goes up from those homes, and then it goes back down to that pond. So,
We actually, the way that the latest
nicer.
layout is we're not nearly as high as what they thought we were going to be as far as overlooking the homes. We're actually setting them down quite a bit. We're going to have quite a bit of cut in that backside, what we're going to call you come off of Piccadilly, and then the roundabout street, we haven't named it yet, but it sits a great deal lower than what everybody thinks it does. We're going to actually put a swale in back there with landscaping and a berm. It's just a really delicate site to develop. I mean, I like it because it's just going to be tough to develop, but I'm not an engineer, and I mean, our cuts are crazy. I mean, the cut coming off of AA.
well, no, I know you can't really see much of the lot because of the trees and everything right now. So,
Right.
you can't really, other than just looking at the elevation lines and stuff that are on here, just trying to figure out what's there. But, and I'm kind of going on the testimony that we had the last time too. It just seems like it, might make things a little easier. And I realize we're not looking at the buildings themselves now, but once we get these streets in place,
Correct.
it becomes
And like
very
I said,
difficult to move them around.
correct. And we're going to actually set a lot lower than what they think. I know there was some people concerned about looking at the back of a townhome. You're barely going to see them. They'll see actually the rooftops. And at this time, I mean, what a rooftop's a rooftop.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's single family or it's multifamily, I mean, they're going to look at, a rooftop. But it's just, like I said, it's a very delicate piece of ground to develop. That's probably why it's been there for 100 years. My engineer it's PAL Engineering. He's pretty sharp, and we've spent a lot of time getting this thing to work.
I have a question. Commissioner Banks?
Yes, sir. I was wanting to find out, between you and the residents that were here, have you considered or thought about putting, because it doesn't look like there's much of a tree line, and you said you're going to put a berm and landscaping between the boundary line and the other property line?
We'll have to comply with the city's landscape design.
But I mean between this property and the neighbor's property.
The city's going to
Okay.
require that.
Okay.
Yes, and we will comply with that.
Okay.
And we do not want, the less trees I have to move off the other boundaries, the better. I have no intention of taking any trees out unless they're just simply in the way.
Well, there wasn't really a tree line along their property line.
On the east side, there's not.
Right.
And we will comply with whatever the city requests us to do.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Barnhart? Commissioner Peel?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Barnhart, this is kind of a follow-up to Commissioner Banks' question, is Richard and Kendra Lee were the people that had seeked opposition on the last meeting that we had. Have you had any follow-up conversations with them at all?
I've had many conversations with them, but I mean, there's no one else, everybody else in the whole, I've had conversations with everybody, the adjoining property owners, and no one else has a problem with what we're doing. I mean, we arranged a private meeting with all the homeowners that were within, the 180 feet, and we answered their questions, and so far, other than, their issue is something about a fence, the topography of the ground won't allow that. Plus what they wanted as an 8-foot fence, that's not the city code. And we are willing to do what the city wants us to do as far as a landscape buffer. I mean, we comply with everything. If anything, we're less density than what we could be.
Okay, understood. Thank you. No further questions.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Barnhart? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion if someone was
Mr. Chairman?
inclined. Commissioner Peel.
I move the preliminary plat 05175787 for Tequista Village be approved, and along with the 17 conditions that are stated.
All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Bartolotta. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
No.
Is it 2 no's?
No.
Motion carries still. Motion passes. Okay. Next item, preliminary plat for Hannah's Place, and Mr. Wright is going to present that for us this evening.
All right, thank you, Chairman Graham and Commissioners. This is a preliminary plat for Hannah's Place second plat. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of Southwest 9th and Southwest Walnut Streets and contains approximately 0.74 acres and is zoned T3 suburban in the downtown zoning district. The property currently contains 2 parcels, including a single-family home at the southeast corner of 9th and Jones, and a vacant duplex at the northwest corner of 10th and Walnut that is proposed to be demolished. The site will be platted into 9 lots, 9 single-family lots, generally following the development pattern of Hannah's Place first plat, which is located to the east. There are 4 completed homes there. The 5th one is currently under construction. Most lots will be accessed through a rear-loaded garage via a private alley that will be located at the rear of the lots. A 6-foot sidewalk is required to be installed at the back of the curb on Southwest Walnut Street. And half-road improvements are required for the east half of Southwest 9th Street. And those must be completed prior to approval of the final plat, the half-road improvements. Water, sewer, and stormwater improvements are also required and must also be approved or completed prior to approval of the final plat. A minimum livable floor area of 1,000 square feet is required and must be noted on the final plat. That is consistent with the 1,000 square foot minimum on the first plat of Hannah's Place. Staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat with the 11 conditions provided in the staff report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright,
Commissioner Phillips?
I'm having a little trouble reading all the dotted lines on here. Does the alleyway that's behind the existing part of this development, does that continue all the way over through to 9th, or does it only go partway through?
I'll let the applicant answer that if that's their intention. They would have that option of connecting the two if they would like to.
Okay.
There's an existing city right-of-way kind of in the middle here that they would need to cross to do that, but that's an option that they could have.
So there's not really a current alleyway?
There's
or
not
anything?
it's just vacant. I think that there are some utility lines that are running down there, but there is no improved alley in that location.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Wright? All right. Thanks, sir. Is the applicant here to make a presentation? If you could state your name and address for us, please.
Mike Yancic, 1909 North 75th Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64151. I don't have a presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. As far as your question, Ken, we are intending on connecting the alley from 8th Street to 9th Street, so you can get all the way through the whole block
Okay, so the alley will actually exit out onto 9th, because I couldn't, that's the part I couldn't really
Yeah.
see was the,
Yep, it'll connect from end to end.
okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Yancey? All right. Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Haney.
make a motion to approve preliminary plat PP03 175732 Hannah's Place with 11 conditions.
I have
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. As I said earlier, item 5, master sign plan for White Oak Marketplace was requested by the applicant to be continued to our June 12th meeting. So brings us to item 6, election of officers. So we will kind of just go down the list one at a time, and I would entertain a nomination if someone would like to make one. We'll start with my job, chairman. And I would say I would love to continue on, but per our bylaws, isn't it bylaws, I can only do 2 consecutive terms, and I have done 2 consecutive terms. So I have to hand the gavel off after this meeting, as much as I enjoy doing this and sitting here. So, and I appreciate everybody putting me here for the last 2 years. So with that said, is there anybody that would like to make a nomination for chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I
Commissioner
nominate
Duhan.
Lynn Banks.
I have a motion to nominate Lynn Banks. Would it be a motion, I guess?
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to do it?
Commissioner Banks, are you
I'll
okay
do it if
with
nobody else
that?
wants to do it, but I've done it twice
Oh,
before, so.
my.
Pressure's on you.
I know.
I haven't got a second yet.
Okay. It's not second.
Oh, I have a second from Commissioner Peel. Okay. We were seeing if the nominee was okay with that.
Gonna jump again.
Yeah, but I'll try.
Want to give it a go?
I'll give it 1 year.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to nominate Commissioner Banks as chairman. Is there any other nominations before I call for a vote? I guess I jumped the gun there. Seeing no other nominations, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Commissioner Banks.
Is it
Chairman
really?
Banks.
Is it really?
Okay. Next on the list is our Planning Commission Vice Chairman, which was Commissioner Banks. So I would entertain a nomination for Vice Chair.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Commissioner Peel.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would nominate as vice chair Joe Haney, Commissioner Joe Haney.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any other nominations? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of Joe Haney as the vice chairman, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, congratulations, Chairman Haney. Next item is our Board of Adjustment Liaison, which is currently Commissioner Duhan.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Peel.
I would also like to nominate Ginger Duhan as the continuing Board of Adjustment liaison.
Okay, Commissioner Duhan, are you agreeable to that?
That's fine.
All right.
Second.
I have a second. Any other nominations? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Our alternate liaison currently is myself. I would stay on, or if someone else would like to do that, I would entertain a nomination.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
I'll
Commissioner.
nominate Travis Graham for alternates, and you can't just back off and not do anything.
Okay. I have a second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Our Development Advisory Commission representative was Jason Sanders. I had an interest from Commissioner Peel to serve in that position, so I would nominate Commissioner Peel as our representative and chair for the Development Advisory Commission.
Second.
I have a second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner Peel, congratulations.
Thank you, Chair.
Our Downtown Review Board rep is Commissioner Wallace. Would you like to remain there, or?
Yeah.
Motion to.
I have a motion from Commissioner Haney. Nomination, do I have a second? I have a second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Commissioner Wallace. Downtown Review Board alternate rep is Commissioner Fairbanks, which we were supposed to load Commissioner Fairbanks up with these positions since she wasn't here tonight.
Yeah.
But we are not that mean, so.
I will move to retain.
Commissioner Fairbanks in that role. I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Commissioner Fairbanks is still the review board alternate. Historic Preservation representative is currently Commissioner Billups.
So move.
Commissioner Haney's wanting to move this along quickly.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to retain
Change his mind.
Commissioner Billups. Any other
I won't
nominations?
change my mind. No, that's,
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Commissioner Billups will retain as our Historic Preservation representative. Solid Waste Management Commission liaison is Commissioner Cradoff.
I so nominate.
I have a nomination.
Second.
I have a second. Commissioner Cradoff, you good with retaining in there?
Yes.
All right. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Commissioner Cradoff, you continue as our Solid Waste Management liaison. Next item is our Technical Review Committee representative, which is being filled by Commissioner Bartolotta, but Commissioner Bartolotta I don't think is going to stay around much longer, is my understanding, so I think we need a new representative
Technical.
there. What's that? Commissioner Bartolotta, do you have a nomination to fill your vacancy?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Peel.
I would nominate Commissioner Billups as the representative for Technical Review Committee.
Can you do
yeah, I can
The
do
time
that. That doesn't require a lot, does it? Never.
What I understand is they meet every so often and probably never is more likely.
No, I'd be,
That's a cool committee to be on.
You're good with
would
serving?
not mind at all.
Second.
Okay. Nomination and a second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Commissioner Billups. That fills all of our official office positions. Oh, yes, these will go into effect. They need to be approved by the mayor at the June 5th city council meeting, and then will go into effect at our next meeting of June 12th. So you will be handed the gavel at that meeting, Commissioner Banks.
Well, you'll do the June 12th meeting though, right?
No.
No.
I get to move down to one of the ends, I believe.
I liked my seat.
Come down here and play with
I
us.
get to come down with you guys. All right, this brings us to other business. Mr. Allen, you have anything for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did want to go over the June 12th agenda. It's a two-pager. I'm sorry, Chairperson-elect Banks, but yes.
Can I resign already?
They're all very good. Just one public hearing, actually, for the next meeting. Again, that's 3 weeks from tonight because of the Memorial Day holiday next week, so it's a 3-week break instead of 2. Rezoning for gardens at Colonial Highlands. It's off Wyatt Road. Along with that is a preliminary plat for the gardens at Colonial Highlands. Then we have 2 site plan design review applications for McDonald's, one on 40 and the one on South 7. Just doing some remodeling there, but exceeding the threshold for the 75%. So again, we try to get a lot of these pushed through administrative site plan design review, but they're doing such a large scale remodel at both those that you will be seeing those. We also have Sports and Luxury Auto, if you recall, at 1928 Northwest Woods Chapel Road, next to the former gas station, which is being remodeled, just on the south side there, northeast corner of I-70 Woods Chapel. So they're coming forward with their site plan design review, and you've seen that, I believe, already with some initial approvals. Along with that, preliminary plat and final plat for that project. And then 3 master and alternative sign plans. One for Snowball Cove, which is the former Sweet Teas, which was the former Sheridan's, by Einstein's on 7 Highway there, across from what is now the former Quick Trip. White Oak Marketplace, that's a big one in terms of the new Price Chopper South. They're coming forward with their master sign plan. They were intending to do so tonight, as you heard, but again, that was continued due to the applicants not being able to attend tonight. We also have Neaters, Bakery and Cafe, the one right out in front of Home Depot. They're coming forward with their sign plan as well. The location of their business, they're requesting signage on all 4 sides of the building, again, which is not typically permitted by right, but something they can request to the Planning Commission. And then finally, from the continuance request to continue here tonight, the preliminary plat for Roanoke 22. So a lot of items, but all fairly straightforward. Just the one public hearing for that rezoning for Wyatt Road subdivision.
All right.
Can I, Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Banks.
The master sign plan that we had on number 5 went to the 12th, but also we had a motion and it was approved, number 2.
Yes.
But that will go on there.
Yes, that will go on there as well for the Roanoke 22 preliminary plat, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one other item.
Yes, Mr.
Just real
Allen.
briefly, I'll defer to Commissioner Peel as well, or Mr. Wright. But in terms of our attendance at the National Planning Conference during your last meeting,
Yes.
which I heard was almost in
Brief.
record short time. So you're welcome for that. I don't know if it's due to the fact that we were missing or if it was just coincidental. But excellent sessions, of course, there in New York City. And we'll be working on putting together our summary of the sessions we attended, hopefully for the June 12th. We're still waiting. I was just checking while we were sitting here. The presentations, so the PowerPoint presentations for each of the sessions are not yet uploaded from the conference, but we're kind of waiting for those so we can kind of point you to those direct links or reference specific information from those presentations. So I don't know if anybody else, I'll Chairman defer to Commissioner Peel and Mr. Wright if they wanted to add anything else.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll have to follow up with Scott's, I guess, his presentation as far as the conference. It was a wonderful conference. There were several items on there that I did not get to attend because I was in other sessions, but I did slip in on some other ones that I did not register for. And there was a particular one that kind of interested me was there was a session on drones and how to deal with them from a legal aspect, as well as how they can be used for, let's say, somebody wants to sell their home. Can they use a drone to be able to present that on a website or things like that? So it was really kind of interesting just to sit on that. I didn't get in on the first, but I did get on the end, and it was interesting all the way through, apparently, because the latter part was really interesting to me. But as I said, the sessions were excellent, the presenters were excellent, and I had a bunch of notes that I'll have been putting together, but as Scott said, is that we're waiting for some of that stuff to come up on the website so we can apply that stuff in our summary. I would go at any point. I would tell anyone to go to these conferences because it was really excellent. Now, what happened at there also was the place was so huge, and one session was in the E concourse and the other one would be the A concourse, and you would like literally run down each concourse to get to these, and by the end of the day you were totally worn out, but you exceeded your Fitbit requirement of 4 steps. But Mr. Wright, I didn't know whether you had any follow-up.
Yes, a lot of walking and running. I took quite a few notes as well, and be happy to share those at the next planning commission once the slides are uploaded. There were a couple of sessions where they was standing room only, so it's kind of hard to take notes standing up. So, but it was a really good conference, and I think that there were a number of sessions that had a lot of relevance to Blue Springs. So, looking forward to bringing that back to you.
Great. We look forward to seeing your written up presentation on that. Any other business to be brought forward?
Oh, by the way, Times Square is fantastic.
Yes, it is. Seeing no other business, just a reminder, our next meeting will be Monday, June 12th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.